What's up, everybody? Once again, it's Brandman Sean, and this video is brought to you by BrandmanNetwork.com because I signed myself, and we here on a Saturday, recording straight off the phone as we do on Saturdays. Apologize for whatever audio might come through my phone. I know sometimes y'all say the mono is different or whatever, but check this out. I got 3 topics, right? 2 are some important business topics when it comes to artists, and 1 is a topic that I almost want to hear y'all opinions on because it's just a weird. I saw somebody comment on another person's video and I'm like, they tripping. I don't understand why artists think this way. But the first one is a business topic because I got an announcement as well. 1, unscalable activities. Unscalable activities are something that artists have to invest themselves in, and not just artists, but so many people in business today, right? What do I mean by that? Simple. Invest in things that you can't do easily, that can't necessarily reach a lot of people to build your true fan base. Why is this important? Well, we're in a day where everybody's trying to reach as many people as possible, but the people who actually take the time and give you more attention or give you content that is more specific to you is the stuff that people are going to appreciate. In this homogenized world, which means this increasingly generic world, people are going to really resonate with things that speak to them directly or create time for them directly. I was reading a Trapital article and it mentioned how Meg Thee Stallion, which is crazy, I got a video on her coming out Monday, I believe, and it was talking about how she'll do things like the Hottie Ranch party or the beach party, all these specific events dedicated to her specific fan base, right? Because when you do these types of things, you have to think about it. 1, not only do you curate a better fan experience for those people who are there, but it has this appreciation for people who aren't there. It's this weird thing, and I know that's the secret sauce, a part of scaling the unscalable that people miss. Right? When you do these fan things that are for a specific subset of fans, they not only get appreciated by the people who are there, the people who are not there still feel some brand equity being deposited for you as well. They're like, yo, she really cares about us. Man, I can't make it to New York. I wish I was there. But it's dope that she's doing this. They see that she rocks for her fans and they resonate and identify with themselves being a fan. So you still get some value for that too, especially in a day where we can document certain things and you can also show that to your fan base, right? There's so many things. But what does that look like for maybe a brand new artist? Well, that could be outside of just the literal fan stuff, because you can't bring fans out at this time, maybe, is scaling the unscalable activities on social media. Gary Vee talks about this, right? Doing things like responding to everybody's, their comment and things like that, DMing all of them, or just doing certain types of activities that create a more personal touch that isn't going to be able to be done when you get 1 million followers, when you get 200,000 followers, whatever that number is for you, where it's just, I can't do it anymore. Doing those activities, it does have an impact. And it's not just this theory. Really compare it to the fact that now we're in a world where people feel like they know more about more people and more information than ever before. However, there's this lack of personal touch that's not being made, ironically, right? And 1, before I transition to the next topic, I gotta also say this. One of the important reasons that I'll be talking about this stuff a lot more, I talk about it already in plenty of videos. I talk about so many of these things, but I'm going to be doing specific videos every Wednesday on this stuff, right? And this is my announcement, because artists have to really think about business more. And we talk about, artists need to learn the business. No, artists need to learn business, not just the business, music business. I'm going to be talking about business in general, more specifically than I have before. Instead of within videos, because I usually hide the medicine and the candy, I'm going to actually just have videos straight up now at this point where, like, we're talking about business every Wednesday. And of course, I'm going to try to make it entertaining and digestible and all that stuff. But is there, and it's going to be important because the people who last, the artists who are actually about this business life, this indie life, and all that stuff, they're going to be interested in those topics. They need to hear those topics because that's the kind of stuff that you have to be consuming to actually understand how to move and strategize in the business. So I'm going to have every Wednesday specific topics about that. Just done with that. But now I'm transitioning. One thing that I saw somebody saying, somebody else's comment section. It wasn't my comment section, but this is how much it pissed me off. They said that artists who have to learn from other people are not artists and should just give up. They don't have any talent. And this is not like learn marketing from other people. I'm talking about learn how to be artists, learn how to write a song, or learn how to do things like that. Bruh, that's a lie. It's a lie. Don't let anybody who feels that way tell you no mess like that. Because the artists who are at the top have learned. They have learned. Some directly from people, some from just watching people, being around people, or working with people. Some like getting a lot of tips and staying in these circles and learning stuff over time. And then a lot of them have actually even done formal education. I'm talking about singing coaches, instructors, all that stuff. You can look at Beyonce. Like all of the top artists have had some form of education. I can guarantee you when it comes to being an artist. Even if we look at the people who have the natural talent, which is pretty much all of them have some natural talent, they're around people and they say, they can tell you, I picked this up working with this person, or I watched and studied this person, right? We already know Beyonce has singing coaches and went through that whole development phase. She's been doing this thing since she was a kid, right? Even somebody like Jay-Z, more natural in terms of organic out the street. He had mentors that he followed specifically, even mimicking his style early on until he evolved to find his own. Everybody needs a teacher. It's just a weird, dumb statement to say that to have to learn from somebody else, it makes you not an artist, because not learning from somebody else kind of makes you not a human, right? That's just how the mind, the brain works. Just the fact that the language that you use to make your music had to be taught to you in the first place. Everything, like all the connections, everything we get and perceive has been invested in by the people around us, right? The environment around us. It just doesn't work that way. I'm not going to even talk too deep into it, but I would like to know y'all's opinion. Somebody actually feels like if you have to learn from other people, then you're not an artist and you should give up. Put that in the comment section below. That's weird. I want to see your perspective, but don't just have no dumb troll comment. Like, give the real perspective on it, because I'm actually curious on that. Last but not least, back to business again. Record labels. What artists should do is look at the tech industry. Now, some of y'all know that I have a tech industry background as well. And why I say that is it might make it a lot cleaner and clearer for a lot of you artists to look at the way business works over there. So it takes some of that personalization out of it for artists. Because then it starts to become confusing. You get emotional, possibly, if you are an artist and you're like, why are they doing this? This is wrong and all that kind of stuff. To look at it more as just a business and understand the business and how models work, that could be a great place for you to look. Here's a primary example, right? So one thing that's really popular in the tech industry is startups, right? We hear that so much. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody has a startup that they're coming up with. So they're going through all these programs and everybody's looking for investment. Venture capital investment, series A, B, C, whatever. Y'all might not know what all that is. But essentially, they are looking to get invested by a group of investors, right? And the thing is, a lot of these people, these startups think, I raised $1 million, I raised $2-3 million, and now I'm popping. I won the game. People really are thinking that. But there's still way more work to do before you're successful as a company. And two, this is what the reality is. And I'll probably maybe even do this on a separate video, because I know some of y'all probably need to get to this part of the video. But this is what the reality is, what it looks like, right? A lot of these founders, they raise $2-3 million, right? And even though they're raising that amount of money, they're still making $40,000 a year. The company has that amount of money. They're only making $40,000 a year, maybe $60,000 a year, whatever it is, because they have to run lean, which means use their resources wisely and invest in other people, build their business, whatever it takes to build their business and build the structure and pay other employees. A lot of these CEOs, okay, I'm making $40,000, but these programmers are extremely important to the success of my company. So I make 40,000, but I'm paying these programmers 60,000, $100,000 a year. All right, that's how it's working. And now that you raise this $3 million a year, well, I mean not $3 million a year, you got this $3 million investment or whatever the number could be smaller. All right, you have to actually run your company. And is your company going to be successful or not? That's still left to be determined, right? So your company fails, you raised 3 million, but your company failed, and so you never made $3 million. You never made more than $40,000 a year. Somebody that more money than somebody who doesn't even have a big job or a big title, CEO, and all this money attached to their name, right? That's how it's working for a lot of these startups. So it looks cool, right? Just like being an artist, it looks cool, but it's not what's really going on in the back end as far as the money. Or check this out. The people will get money, right? And your business starts to fail, you start to run out of money, and what you do is you create more runway. So this terminology is essentially saying, look, think about a plane. Right, I'm rolling on the runway, and before the end of the runway, you have to take off. But I'm going. This thing hasn't taken off. If I go past the runway, I'm dying. So what do I need to do to extend my runway? I need to make more money. If I can't make more money because I'm getting revenue and profitability from my actual product, my actual business, then I got to get more investors. And what do I do when that happens? Well, I'm giving up more percentage of my company, just like an artist might be giving more of a revenue, or giving up their masters, or giving more of a percentage of some sort of their business, right? So you will literally have somebody found a company but end up owning barely any of it, and even the order that people get paid is the same thing. I'm not even I'll do that in a completely different business video, but just understand that this same thing is happening over there. A lot of the sensitivity comes from the fact that artists, right, are a person. These people are selling products through a company. So it's easier to make it less personal. It's easier to objectify it and look at it a certain way. I understand it. That's a weird line to walk. You being the product, you being a person, and it's like they're treating me bad. But really, from a record label standpoint, or just these other forms of investment standpoint, they're just looking at it from a business perspective, right? And you're choosing to be a business in some ways, in a lot of ways, when you're choosing to be an artist and deal with business on that level. So keep that in mind, because you can even break it down to the fact that record labels invest in a lot of people, right? And the reason they invest in a lot of people is a numbers game. They know that this game isn't predictable completely, right? Especially if you're trying to do it at a huge scale. It's one thing if you're an indie label like QC and that you could heavily invest in artist development and you're moving a certain way, right? But when you're talking about trying to be at scale and move with the times, we know this is a numbers game. We got our system that we build out, but we got to gamble. Startups, the way investors on that side of things invest, a lot of them, these venture capitalist firms, they work the numbers specifically. So they invest in a certain amount of companies. Like they're literally saying, we're going to sign this amount of companies each year. And when we sign this amount of companies, they're looking for a specific type of company, right? In a specific category. It's so similar, right? But they're looking at these numbers and they're only expecting maybe one of them out of that number to pop off and be super successful, maybe two of them to be decent, but they don't care about that because they really only look for the big wins. That's what they really want. And they're expecting their big wins to make up for their 100 losses. Same thing for a record label, right? It's like, this company, they lost money. This artist, they were shelved and they never came out with a project, right? So that advance that we gave them, we never got that back. Right? It's all the same. There's, of course, industry specific nuances, but generally speaking, the business models have a lot of similarities. And why? Because business is predictable. Business has a lot of similarities. These things and strategies of how you do business models only make sense. it's actually kind of a limited amount. There's actually a pretty limited amount of business models per se. It's all just different versions of the same thing. So keep that in mind. Always pay attention to business. We'll be talking about this stuff more and more and more on the channel. I think I will take this last part of the video and do a very specific, more digestible video for people who can't follow in these type of words that of just me talking. But with that in mind, as always, this video is brought to you by BRANDMANNetwork.com, because I sign yourself and we talk this stuff in far more detail in BRANDMANNetwork.com, and we have real conversations with you in your specific scenario. But why? We're trying to help you build your infrastructure, get your marketing right, your branding right. Let's get it. Check it at BRANDMANNetwork.com out. If you're interested in, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like it, you might as well share it. If you're not, subscribe. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Wow.